All right, y'all, so I'm back. We up here registering people to vote. And I got my brother, man, I've known for a long time. Love this dude to death, man. He's a really good dude, right? So I say, hey, bro, you registered to vote this year? And he's like, yeah, I'm voting. I say, who you voting for? He was like, you already know. I'm like, Trump? He's like, hell no. Hell no. I'm like, bro, are you serious? So he's asking me, he say, Cash, why? Why vote for Trump? Okay, before we get into it, because I'm going to break it down to you. Why are you voting for Biden? I'm gonna break it down to you. Why are you voting for Biden? Why?
Because what's going on now in the situation with Trump?
What Trump situation?
What's going on now? Shit just fucked up. I believe he could come in and do a better job.
You really do?
I believe.
What has he done? You know he's been in politics for 47 years. What has he done in 47 years? What has he done in 47 years?
So the brother hits the other cat with, what's Biden done in 47 years, which is a direct, sort of state TV, Fox News, Trumpian thing that he's saying. Okay, let's just break it down. Biden has never been president. You can't say, you can't hold him responsible for everything in government for 47 years. And a lot of those years, your party may not be in power. So the closer you get to being president, the more power, the more weight you have. Also, you have to understand, we as a people have to be politically mature. Now, what do I mean by that? Okay, my kids, when they were small, one of my sons said to me, Daddy, can you make it rain today? And I said, well, why? What makes you think I can make it rain? He says, well, you pick our bedtime. You pick when we eat, you pick where we go. So I figured, you could make it rain. So I was trying to explain to my sons that I didn't have the power to determine the weather. But when you're small and you're not mature, you don't realize it. Now, when you grow as an adult and you go, oh, I now see as an adult I have many, many capabilities, but making it rain is not one of them. You have to understand, we had some 300 years almost of slavery, another 100 or so, 96 to be exact, of Jim Crow. And it's only after 1954 that we, start to look at getting the Voting Rights Act. So you can't undo 400 years of wrong and 8 years of right, or 47 of I'm sort of in the field. It's just not a politically mature thing to think about. You have to understand change comes incrementally, right? That we start out, black folks don't have the right to vote, but then we get it. And then women don't have the right to vote, and then the sisters get it. And then folks can't love who they love, and now they can. They can get married, they can love who they love. So America is moving in the right direction, but it takes time, it's incremental. And if you're not mature, you just go, I can't have it the way I want it right away. No, it takes time. Democracy is like a car. But it's a long drive, baby. When you take your foot off the gas, what happens in the car? The car slows down.
I just believe he'll do better than Trump.
Did you know that Biden, in 47 years of politics, has only been a racist, said racist things about you and me, personally, as black people, and made a bill to incarcerate black people? With Bill Clinton. The crime bill. Look it up. The man just said, you ain't black unless you vote for him. All right? He also said he didn't want his children going to school in a racial jungle. Didn't want integration. He was for segregation. Also, not only that, He also said that poor kids can be just as bright and just as intelligent as white kids, meaning that black, brown, red, yellow are poor.
To take that out of context is everything, in my opinion. It's like, obviously what he was saying is these kids who are not given the opportunity could succeed just as far as white kids if they were given the opportunity.
Absolutely.
That's all he's saying.
So we're playing semantics.
We're playing semantics.
So you can chop it up and look at it and chop it up and say, well, I'm going to do a Hannity on it.
Yeah.
Or I can look at what the cat's intent was.
Right.
His intent is clearly good. He's saying everyone is America. We should be all given the right to pursue happiness.
As white kids. And again.
And that these words that we've written were not written with us in the room. And America has not lived up to that. Again, when Biden very clearly said, we black folks have to have a talk with their kids that he will never have to have. See, this is the difference between you got Biden versus Trump. You have to understand, Biden understands that he doesn't understand something.
Sure.
Trump denies it exists.
Sure.
When he thinks poor, he doesn't think white at all. He's thinking about you and me. The dude ain't did nothing but hurt black people. And then his running mate, Kamala Harris, she's got a career of locking up black people. A career. Now, let's move over to Trump. You asked me why I'm voting for Trump. Before Trump was the president, did not everybody love him? In their music videos, rap videos, all the magazines. He got awards from black communities in the NAACP. Everybody loved him. But then when he came to president, they said he's a racist. Why?
The brother's saying, as far as Trump being not racist, all black folks loved him. Where does he get that from? You mean the Central Park Five accusing them of raping that woman and you're innocent till proven guilty? Trump said, no, they're guilty already.
Okay,
put them to death.
listen, people love Darth Vader too, okay? People love Darth Vader, and Darth Vader kills people, destroys planets.
So if we're waiting for a couple rappers to take a picture with him and say, well, that's going to be our vote, that's how we determine that black folks love you. No, man, we're not monolithic. And again, I go to this. I think it's important to have a smart Republican Party. It's important to have black folks and brown folks on all sides of this thing. I'm going to go to Trump now. There's good people on all sides. But to have conspiracy theories and to make your bones the very first thing you do with the first president, brother who's a president, African-American president, is to make your bones saying he's not legitimate, to delegitimize him as an other. That's the way he got in. His very candidacy was based on a racist premise, not Biden.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because when he came into politics, he said drain the swamp. He started taking out all the politicians, not just politicians, the evil, corrupt politicians.
Okay, evil, corrupt politicians, he fired them. Then how come so many from the administration are in jail?
Because he brought in some serious swamp. Again, equivalency and shading and maturity are important. You had people sometimes who could have been better. I'm not going to say they couldn't. But when you put an oil guy in charge of drilling, when you put a guy who's into deforestation in charge of the forest, when you put a guy into the post office to derail and defund and sabotage the post office before a vote during a pandemic, you clearly are doing things, and this is what he does. What Trump is very good with is media and distraction. You'll look over here while he's taking the post office machines apart. You'll look over there while he's cutting down all these trees and selling them. You're going to look over here while bounties are being placed on American troops' heads, and he doesn't call his friend Putin and say, yo, man, you killing my guys? So I think Trump is good at distraction. He's good at media. He should go back to what he was doing. He should go back to doing his reality shows. He was good at that. Because Trump, I got a word for you. In my opinion, you got fired. I hope.
And put in his people. Did you notice since he's been president, the economy has been better than it ever been. Unemployment at an all-time low.
He inherited that.
More jobs created than ever before. He stopped making us importer and made us an exporter. To me, that means we make more money.
What are we exporting now?
People talk about the wall.
What is our gross national product? What are we exporting?
Yeah. So again, here's the thing.
Weapons.
If you look at the charts, under the Obama-Biden administration, jobs were growing and unemployment was going down.
Yes.
It
And it
continued to go down. So this is why Obama's out there and saying, listen,
Right.
this guy's trying to take credit
Absolutely.
for an economy he inherited.
And you should
and
look at what the
zero
economy was like
responsibility
when Obama started.
For a pandemic that he's ignored. So you can't, I know, but unfortunately what this brother's doing, he's almost like he's just grown up watching Fox News and echoing those playbook points. That's what he's doing, man.
That's exactly what he's doing. But the problem is that if you can't counter that with facts, or that you hear this and you don't have to dismiss it, but you can point by point. We're just bringing up a couple of things. He just goes on.
Hey, are rapists and murderers, not Mexicans. Not Mexicans. But they twisted that to make everybody around us believe that he's a racist.
Wait, what is the stupidity they say?
The economy has been better than it ever been. Unemployment at an all-time low. More jobs created than ever before. He stopped making us importer and made us an exporter. To me, that means we make more money. People talk about the wall that he wanted to build over there in Mexico. You know why he wanted to build the wall? And remember they said that he was racist because he said that my brothers and sisters Mexican is murderers and rapists and stuff, right? That's not what he said. If you listen to the clip, he said that the MS-13, the gang, are rapists and murderers, not Mexicans.
We can go to that clip.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
An exporter again, have jobs again, have people believe in the
He's
American
fucked up the
dream
trade
again.
deals with China. He's lost
Listen,
that
listen,
battle.
listen. First of all, that is, we all know that is not what he means.
Mm-hmm.
And if he can float that out there, he's talked about bringing back coal. That's not going to happen.
The other thing that I want to add to that, Mike, is I as a man have grown, right? I'm not the same cat I was when I was 20. If you don't grow between 20 and 40 and 40 to 60 and 60 to whatever age, then you haven't used this life well. The crime, the true crime, is not to be ignorant, as Malcolm said. The crime is to stay ignorant. Okay, so to check that out. Did Biden make mistakes? Absolutely. Did any white man of that age who's lived that long probably say things and make some mistakes? Absolutely. Did Brother Obama said had he evolved when it came to the question of gay marriage? He said, yeah, man, I have evolved, right? Let's go to Trump, though. Trump didn't want people in his buildings of color, didn't want people in his buildings to work there, etc. He took pictures with some rappers now and then. Did he change? Did he evolve? No, man. That's what we got to go to. The racist stuff that Trump was about, he's still very much about. Biden, when he made a mistake, learned from it, has grown, and has grown into a man that can lead this country out of it. And as I said earlier, Biden saw Obama turn to Michelle for counsel. And who does he pick now for counsel? Not Mike Pence, right? He picks Kamala Harris, a sister, to be his Michelle. Talk about court packing. When the Republicans want to put all these court judges on the court, they put these Republican judges, no judges of color, 50 of them, no judges, no black judges, man. You got to look at that. So you got to not just look at what someone said he said, but what the actions were. Brother Mike.
Well, let me say this. I agree with everything you just said, obviously, but context. You have to look at everything in context. Okay, did Trump do some things or inherit a great economy? Yes, he did. Did he inherit, you look at, and again, you really have to do your research here, as Brother Mario said, because if you really want to be able to dispute something somebody says or what is being said, just do a little bit of research. A little bit of research will give you some facts that you can use to give context to these quote-unquote facts that a brother like that is going to give you, or anybody who's going to tell you that voting for Trump makes sense. If you don't know some of the things that Trump is doing, here's a list.
So let me just say this. America is still a raceocracy. And I would say there are two very positive things that have come out of the Trump presidency. One, it's demystified the fact that we're post-racial. Because I had my white friends used to say, well, we voted for your guy, so now this proves we're post-racial. Clearly, it does not. And number two, it's demystified the presidency. Because now anybody goes, well, if this knucklehead reality show dude can be president, I can run for president. So that, I think we're gonna have a lot more, we're gonna see a lot more young folks, a lot more people of color starting to run for office. And I think that's a good thing, that the more America is governed by those who have, the more the people at the top understand and feel the pain of those at the bottom, the more we'll have true representation. Okay, so those are two positive things. But I think that you have to understand, yes, there are things, if you're a 70-year-old white man, you probably said some stuff that wasn't cool back in the day. The question is, like, again, I say, not what you said before, but what you do now. Biden is going to surround himself with smart people of all colors, of all persuasions, of all preferences, who keep him on track. Trump, as you can see, because all these people come away, Republicans come away from Trump going, oh no, this dude is toxic, this dude is not qualified, this dude is a clown. Republicans are running away. Every Republican who's worked with him in office damn near is in jail, has come out, written a book, and said, yo, this is the worst cat in the world to be. I mean, John Bolton, who refuses to vote for Biden, says, I cannot vote for Trump. Mitt Romney says, oh no, I can't vote for Trump. All these folks, who are coming out the woodwork saying, no, Trump is not the one, man. So I think that our democracy is healthier when we have a strong thinking Republican Party. We need that back. We need that duality. But this cat, Trump is just destructive. And let me go to this now. If you think, well, I'm not sure if I want to vote for Biden, let me throw this out for you. If you deny science, the science of climate change, do you know what that means? What Trump has done is put people in charge of our forests who make money cutting down the forest.
Absolutely.
Right?
Listen, absolutely.
He's put people in charge of our resources that make money selling off our resources. He's got loans and bank accounts all over the world and owes money to who knows what. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I mean, how are you not going to show your taxes and keep kicking it down the road? I mean, this guy is a guy, he's the master of wait and see, tune in next week, because he's all about ratings, right? So tune in next week, we'll see if those 500 kids that lost their parents, those 500 orphans will find their parents. Tune in next week and we'll see if maybe I'll do a healthcare plan for you under a pandemic. Tune in next week and no, this is not a rating show. We don't want this unreality show anymore. So I'm not even saying you shouldn't have black folks in the Republican Party. I think we should have folks of all colors in both parties. But I think that there are so many good reasons to vote for Biden, and so many very, very dire reasons why your vote counts. And if it didn't count, why the Republicans wouldn't be working so hard to block your vote, right? So if you think about not voting, know this: every time you don't vote, that's a vote for them, and they don't want you to vote. Okay, I think this election is dire. We can't take another 4 years of this cat, man. Science has got to be back on the docket. Safety's got to be back on the docket. You can't. Working like I'm working right now as a director, that is the reward of a functioning society. We're learning how to function because we're taking the pandemic seriously. I get tested every other day. So if we take it seriously, we can get the economy open, but the economy hinges on us being safe. And add to that, I think the other thing, and that is, when I am directing a film, I set the tone of how we're going to conduct ourselves, right? So if regardless of whether you agree with my decisions as a filmmaker, right? How I talk, how I address people, how I respect people is going to be mirrored by the crew. So the question is, am I a healer? Am I a decent person? Am I a uniter? Or am I someone that pits people against each other? Do I create a climate of kindness and cooperation. You may think I'm a shitty director. You may think I'm a terrible director. You may think I'm a great director. But the point is not that you're just agreeing with my decisions as a filmmaker, but do you agree with my tone as a human being, man? I wouldn't want my kids to act the way this guy acts. If I saw one of my children behaving like this dude, talking about I'm gonna grab her by the genitals, calling this person a, encouraging these white supremacists and, calling people in the military suckers and losers, that's just not something that's gonna work. It doesn't, tonally, that does not bring out the best of what America is. I don't care what color you are, I don't care what party you traditionally vote for. That is not who we are. And I agree, this is a battle for the soul of America, but it's also a battle for the future. The Native American said, the white man, the colonizer says, we inherit the land from our forefathers. Well, their forefathers weren't here, so I don't know, I go step on someone's land and go, I've inherited the land from my forefathers, but let's go with that. And the Native Americans said, no, actually, we borrow it from our children. We're borrowing this land from our children right now. And we gotta do better or they won't have a planet. It's time for science to come back. It's time for sensible gun control to really come back. We're rushing through a Supreme Court nominee right now that makes no sense. We're days away from an election and they're just jamming it forward. We need to press pause. We need to reboot. We're a better country than this and the world needs our leadership. All right.
Amen.
Amen.